each other's point of view. Great. So very good afternoon, and thank you for joining today's discussion on marketing in Web 3.0. And I think all of us will agree that internet is evolving, and this evolution is inevitable, right? And a lot of thought leaders describe this evolution from information, which was Web 1.0. Then we went to interaction, which was more about Web 2.0. And now we are in the world of decentralization, Web 3.0. And I would say that the key at this stage is not to find answers, because I'm sure all of us are trying to understand how Web 3.0 and the entire decentralization, blockchain, crypto, NFTs, etc., will shape up the world for marketers. But I think at this stage we want to not find answers, and I'm sure we can't know all of them as well. But idea is to think about the right questions to ask and start thinking in those direction, so that we have our own point of view and our strategies defined uh, for Web 3.0. So through this discussion, we wanted all of us to discuss on the potential of the Web 3.0, how it is impacting marketing strategies, what is the relationship currently of marketers with Web 3.0, and what are the opportunities we see as marketers in the Web 3.0 era. So that was the point, and that's the genesis of the entire conversation. Uh, all of us know that there's a rise in decentralized networks. Uh, it's time for B2B marketers to adopt new channels, platforms, communities that are not controlled by a single entity, but requires a shift from centralized marketing to community-based marketing, right? Where trust, transparency, and value creations become essential. So before I pose my first question, I would request everyone to quickly introduce yourself and then talk about the first, like, what is your take on this? What's your take, or what's your thought on how the entire trust becomes very important in Web 3.0, right? So what is your current relationship with Web 3.0, and what opportunities, or what impact, rather, I would say, what impact you see of Web 3.0 on your business, and what is your current relationship? Have you started Web 3.0? Are you still in that discovery mode, or are you still in that wait and watch kind of a mode? So just wanted to understand your perspective. I think we can start with Vipul.
Hello, everyone. I'm Vipul Oberoi. I head marketing, learning solutions, and CSR for Dun& Bradstreet. Dun & Bradstreet itself is the world's largest commercial database, and it's been in existence for 180 years. And in these 180 years, we have seen the evolution of data, on how data was collected, for what purposes it was used. And over the period of, I can say in the past decade, in fact, less than a decade, we have seen a serious change in how data is collected, second, how it is stored, and how it is regulated. And that is a very important aspect of it, data regulation, because and of course, just to give you an idea, we use data and provide data to various organizations to mitigate the risk, whether it be on the finance side, whether it be on the credit side, or compliance related, or even marketing solutions. And the whole thing about data is that it's never enough. The more the data, the more varied the data, the better it is, because it's about risk mitigation. It is about personalization when it comes to marketing. And therefore, that collection, storage, and regulation parts are very important. Web 3.0, of course, is the whole cornerstone is that data would be easily available. It will be more decentralized, but there are larger aspects to it. We see a great potential as far as it's concerned, because now you're moving from just purely static to a more interactive web, which means that our campaigns would be better, which also means that it would be easier to personalize it. It would be easier to protect our own IPs. But we have a cautious approach also, because there's a other side to the coin, somehow, and it's a personal opinion. Now, this is not a Dun and Bradstreet opinion, but a personal one, basis my understanding that Web 3.0 still assumes a perfect market, as economists call it. It assumes that every player is actually a rational player, is well informed, is regulates himself itself. Which is a very big thing in Web 3.0, self-regulation. How will it happen? I'm really not sure. So right now, it's a cautious approach. What we are saying is that we are observing. We say change is good, but you go first.
Great, Vipul. I think Kunal and Mitul joined in between. So Kunal and Mitul, talking about the impact of Web 3.0 and what's your current relationship with Web 3.0? What is your strategy currently when it comes to Web 3.0? So any other takes? Priya, you want to go next?
Yeah, hi. My name is Priya Goutham, and I'm the Chief Marketing Officer at 3i Infotech. And today we been, on a roll with the new plans and what's happening next. So it's a very contextual, but yet a question that everybody was asking is what's our plan for the next, year and things like that in marketing. So one of the things that, as an IT company and a company which is into services, products, and platform-led, products and services, it is very difficult to say that we should not be in the new, wave of what's happening in this industry, and so does our marketing to be done like that. So one of the options that Vipul said is wait and watch, but I think as an individual, as an organization, what we were planning was to do something in the world of, taking the data, seeing, culling out the data and looking at how informed decision making we can do, and use the persona, behavior, and everything to target more in terms of whom I should reach. Very, very customized, but yet at the same time, very targeted, campaigns that we should run in that area is something that we are looking into doing. But like everybody, it is nice to know, but very difficult to adapt. So we got to wait and watch a little bit before we plunge into it. But definitely, it's in our plan to do something in those lines. So we might stumble a little bit, but I guess that's the way we learn. We understand where we've sort of faltered and then sort of correct course and all that. So definitely, yes, for a product-based, marketing, we would definitely look at that. I think that's pretty much what we have at this point of time. And in the product itself, we have a division which is into future technologies. So a lot of information about how the data is going to help us in order to, make our decisions more stronger, and so are able to put more money in that area is something that we are looking to do.
Thanks, Priya. And I think interesting take in terms of understanding those customer insights and then doing targeted based approach, right? I think that is one of the strength when it comes to Web 3.0, and that's where personalization and a great customer experience will play an important role. VidhyaShankar, you want to go next?
Absolutely. Hey, everyone. Good evening. VidhyaShankar here. So I have about more than 20 years of experience, and I'm the a senior vice president and head of marketing at Quinnox. We are an IT services, technology, and platforms company, similar to what Priya talked about. So interesting take, right? I think Web3, there are, at least in the circle that I operate, it has become the talk of the town. In fact, every conversation that we do, even internally or with my peers, this Web3 always has its own place and importance in our conversation. So what we have done in the Web3, I think we have taken some baby steps towards it. One of the things that we did recently in one of the ISG, you guys must be knowing, right? ISG, they are the leading advisory firm. So in one of the events, we kind of gave away the NFTs as one of those giveaways, right? How can we come up with a digital avatar of oneself, and that was a really big hit because people were not. It was about 6 months back, I would say, and still Web3 and NFT, those things are still being discussed, and so that was one of the things that we did. The second thing, obviously, what we are trying to do, as much as we don't want to go big, wait and watch. We are learning a lot of things from the B2B space, a lot of evolution that has happened in the B2C space. And now you can just go on and on with Nike, Adidas, Gucci, and so on and so forth, right? And we are just trying to see we're just trying to learn what are the kind of initiatives that we are taking, how they are approaching the whole Web3, what kind of partnerships they are, they are exerting with I would say the marketplace and the platform providers, with even the marketing agencies, and also with some of the technology vendors, right? So we are closely watching that space and trying to see what kind of learnings that we can get and apply in our business. And I would say the second most important thing that we have done, or the third most important thing that we have done, is basically the community marketing per se. So we have 3 AI-powered platforms, which are basically into testing, integration, as well as your AI ops, which is your operations part of it. And we started developing those communities because community play is going to be very, very big in the Web3 if you look at, right? And we started creating those communities. We are trying to see how can we provide that kind of experience, because one is the experience part of it, right? Creating community, how are we going to provide that experience which is similar to what they are experiencing in the Web3 technology? So we have taken our initiative towards this. We have created our own communities for these platforms and trying to market, provide, trying to get as much as information and intelligence from them in terms of their expectations, right? And how can we deliver to their expectations? What are the kind of things that we can do that that can wow them, right? So we have our 20 I would say checklists that are already made. What are the expectations from them? How we can cater our marketing strategies towards that community? So I think to a great extent, that's what we have. It's obviously it's still initial stages, I would say baby steps, but I think, yeah, we are discussing it and how we can take the next step based on some of the learnings that we can take from the real world. Yeah, that to me, that's at a very high level.
I think very exciting idea, and a lot of brands now are doing away with Zoom and Team, and now going to Metaverse to host their events. And I think NFT giving away NFT as one of the baby step in that direction. So I think excellent, and kudos to you for that effort. Suma, you would like to go next?
Sure. Yeah, thank you, Amita. Hi, everyone. I'm Suma Nair. I head the marketing for the NSEIT group of companies, which includes a cloud provider, a cybersecurity firm, and of course the other digital applications and data business. So, in a typical, to be honest with you, we just about kind of started having these conversations. Well, individually, I might have had this conversation, but it's really new, because it also depends on the maturity of an organization to kind of adapt these new technologies. So having said that, there are a couple of things which we are contemplating, to be very honest. I love the idea about the NFTs part of it. I think I'm definitely going to borrow that one. That's a really nice one. Because
I tell you, it was a great hit. Okay, so we had a lot of footfalls in our thing just for that. People were queuing up in our booth just to get that.
Yeah.
Anyways, go ahead. Sorry to interrupt.
No. That the curiosity value, I think we should definitely capitalize on that for sure. I think the other thing is that, again, Vidya, you rightly pointed out about the community. I was listening to a YouTube something sometime back. I forget the person who kind of said it. He's called it community capitalism. Basically, it is like while you're building a community, Web3.0 is about community capitalism, where you have a set of people. I mean, everybody is decentralized and all that, but they also get incentivized. So there's a dichotomy out there. And having said that, I think as B2B marketers, what we are looking at is that how do we incentivize our customers? Because at the end of the day, whether we take their feedback, and this is all happening in bits and pieces in different ways and means, but how to kind of build a consolidated strategy in ensuring that it's a give and take. It's no longer just a give thing part of it. So that entire part of it. Third part is the content marketing. I mean, I know I'm talking at a very base level right now, but content marketing per se, in the last couple of years, I mean, last few years, that has been very important pillar of your entire digital marketing and all that stuff. So how to make it more personalized, how to make it more, again, tailored to specific communities is something that we're looking at. And last but not the least, the marketing operations. I'm really trying to kind of figure out, chat GPT is of course a mystery still, but I'm still kind of trying to figure out how we can use AI to streamline our operations a little bit and get there. Yeah.
Thank you, Suma. I think this is interesting. Shahana, your take?
Hi, everyone. So, for over about now 20 years, I've been in the space of selling internet, right? So, web 1.0, 2.0, 3.0 now. So, yeah, lots happening in that space. I'm a part of the Geo team and I lead the B2B marketing for Geo. So yes, as an organization, Geo has always been in the forefront of whatever is new, right? And Geo as an organization has never shied away from experimenting with new technologies. But I'm going to just talk about Web 3.0 and what it means on a personal capacity right now. And very, very excited about the whole concept. It's still very new. And VidhyaShankar, I think you've done quite a bit. I don't think that even we at Geo have done as much experimentation with, the Web 3.0 tech as much as you have done. We did try something in the metaverse. We did try some product demos because our products are not what should I say? They are not, you don't get a touch and feel of our products, right? It's tech products, but we try to sort of showcase a lot of what we do in a more experiential manner in metaverse space. But just when I think about Web 3.0, I think one of the biggest impacts would be that you could now directly, communicate with the customer without these intermediaries being around, like the social media platforms that we rely on or search engines that we rely on when we have to connect with our customers. So I think that would be, it can sort of open up a lot of opportunities for businesses and marketers. I mean, all of us in this room. And the second thing is, Suma, what you talked about, right? Incentivizing and rewarding customers. And with NFTs, being around now, we can actually use this to create reward systems and loyalty programs and give it directly to the customer, right? And this can also foster so much more stronger relationships with the customer community. And last but not the least, it can also create a lot of revenue streams for businesses, right? For example, now with decentralization, you'd have decentralized marketplaces where you can connect directly, you can sell directly your products and services to the customer without having to go to a platform, a marketplace platform. So all of these things put together, I think open up a lot of opportunities for businesses. So yes, exciting times ahead. And I'm waiting to hear from all of you as well on what are you planning in your own respective businesses to leverage.
Shahana, I think.
1 second.
Go ahead, Vidhyasankar. Yes.
So excuse my ignorance. Is Geo they themselves are coming up with any metaverse platform like how others does?
So I will not be at a liberty to say anything about that. But
then it's an yes. So I got it.
Yeah, but needless to say, Geo, being a part of Geo, I mean, there are things happening every day. So every day you can walk into office and some new stuff is happening. So these are exciting times for everyone, actually. Yeah.
Sounds good.
I just wanted to add one of the things that we did it, sometime back, we at least experimented before all this Web 3.0 and things happened is something called as money in motion. Okay. So we took a concept of taking that what would excite people to be more proactive in the way they do things. For example, if you put money in motion in terms of, hey, don't litter around and things like that. So if you take a route of that kind of, what do you call people change management that you want to bring in. So we did something which is in the blueprint and we probably will sort of roll it out, is that if every time they do something nice, right? So there's a reward for them, which is the money is circulating. So that makes it a lot more, interesting for people. And just to take on the point where you said NFTs, we did this, so you do this, you don't put litter your, bins outside or something, you put it inside that, and then you do something good for the humankind, you do some CSR activity and sales and blah, 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 and you bring that all, and then you have this money, which is more. So every time they do, there's a ping that comes in, and say, okay, hey, you got reward points. So that way, we are thinking that will work really well to motivate people to consciously do something. And also, gone are the days where we're just selling things for the sake of selling, but it has to be what is in for me. And if I look at that, I'm able to do a direct database, approach, which I can really target and say, hey, for this guy, this might be of interest. So we're trying to do those kind of interventions in what we are trying to achieve in marketing
I
here.
think, thanks, Priya. And Vipul, I'll come back to you. Shahana, you brought a very interesting point on the revenue streams. Before I'll just park it for a minute there, but I just wanted to check with Kunal and Mitul if they would like to share their opinion and their take. Yes, Kunal.
Yeah, so I represent SaaS on this table. So essentially, I lead the marketing and communications efforts for SaaS. We've been in the business of analytics for the last 46 years now. So and been a market leader in that space. Around 80,000 customers across the globe, 2,000 plus here in India. So the good thing that has happened as part of my own journey is I've seen that a lot of that medicine that we sell to our customers is something that we have taken ourselves, right? So we have a ton of analytics embedded everywhere within that also means within our own marketing ecosystems. So over a period of time, we have built a very capable set of dashboards, and if data has now become the foundation on which we are really building our campaigns. What that means for us in the context of Web 3.0 is that we're really we're keeping a close tab on happenings there, right? So it's interesting all of your takes on what's happening in your respective worlds. And we are also experimenting now. So, the very first thing, we are taking some simple steps, right? So, readying ourselves for something like a cookie-less world is one simple thing that we have done, right? How do we get more control over our own data? So, which means, there's a lot of effort that we're today putting towards first source data. So, how do we own the data? How do we improve our overall customer experience that we have on our web, right? So that's the second area that we've invested in. Web 3.0 also means there's a huge amount of focus on collaboration and partnerships, and that's critical for our success, right? So in the past, we have worked a lot with analytics leaders, influencers, big, professors and fantastic universities like Harvard, MIT, etc., have collaborated with us. We're trying to work with them and trying to put much of that content that we are working with in collaboration with them onto our website as well. Because Google, for example, is putting much more emphasis on user experience and engagement, right? So it's not just about having a well-optimized website. That's no longer enough. Your site needs to be engaging. It needs to provide good user experience, and the focus on education and information much more than earlier. So we're doing a lot in that space. And again, it's in collaboration with some of those people that I mentioned, Tom Davenport, Bernard March, some of those analytics leaders, which are highly regarded in the industry. So that's another area. The third piece is community, and that's also become an extremely important area for us. We have a fairly large community base across the world, right? So we are looking at how we could include them and bring them as part of our overall R&D efforts, right? So how do we kind of open up what is essentially proprietary software, but can also, reach out to the open source community, integrating much of what they are doing there and back into the product, helping them really use our product in conjunction with whatever they might be using on, let's say, R, Python, and the likes, right? So it's much more collaborative than what it was maybe a few years ago. So I think we've taken many these sort of steps. We're also toying with many ideas like hackathons, and in how do we use some of that in terms of not just community building, but also not really treating our customers like passive and obedient customers or consumers in Web 3.0, right? Again, the whole setup is now set in a way that it's it's designed to reward those who are getting hands-on and helping us build certain features in the products. We are also trying, other in areas like NFTs. Again, there's a very concept at the conceptual stage right now, but we're looking at that space as well. So that in terms of conferencing tickets, because that's again an area that we've seen in the past. Pre-COVID times, we used to have like 10, our user conferences would be 10,000, 12,000 people, right? So it's a fairly large conference. How do you kind of do this on an NFT basis? So these are all some of those areas that we are really trying to toy with, and that kind of goes back into our loyalty scheme as well. So members only sort of access to newer products, limited releases, and the like. So there's a lot happening in that space, but much of that is really it's early days. Some experiments, some cautious experiments is something that we have been invested in the last few years.
Thank you, Kunal. I think this is very interesting. Mitul, your take on this?
So I've been a very silent listener to a lot of these guys who spoke about, and to be very frank with you guys, when Vijay reached out to me about Web 3.0, I first did is went to Google and checked out what the hell this Web 3.0 is, right? And because to be very frank, in my daily life, I don't think this Web 2.0, 3.0 has really played a very big role, right? It's moving seamlessly in. As life moves on, I encounter challenges. I go ahead and we, keep tweaking our own marketing strategies and we sit on a fairly deep marketing technology stack at Datametics, and at least we have. In fact, the last time when I counted, I don't remember, but last time I remember I was speaking at a LinkedIn event and I happened to count how much of different marketing technology stack I am sitting on. And I counted we were at about 14, right? We have 14 different technologies which we are integrated to deliver. Now, if you ask me whether any of them has Web 3.0 built into it, frankly, I don't know, but they work very well for me. While I'm a marketer, I'm a more business marketer because I look at ROIs, I look at number, I look at how data flows, and I look at my overall cost of doing marketing. How much does it cost? So, given all that, Web 3.0 has been after that last 1 week of digging around in terms of what Web 3.0 is really. What we are toying with this idea is a lot. Of course, then I realize what this Web 3.0 animal is. I think we all have been overwhelmed and really swept out with this entire Chat GPT-3, GPT, the power of Chat GPT. Let's call it that. And then now 4. Okay, right. So given that, we've been flooded with at least about 45 different tech stacks, which are built on ChatGPT 3, 4, sorry. And right now, as we speak, we are evaluating at least 3 of them to put into my marketing technology stack. Now, how does that impact? It only has to impact in three ways. And if it doesn't impact in 3 ways, I'm going to just rip it off and just throw it off out of the window because it's not going to really help me. And if it doesn't help me, I don't care, whether technology has to work for me. I don't work for technology. While I work for a technology company, but that's how I am. So I am looking at about 3 different tech stacks out of 43 techs, new tech stack which we've come across. And it has to be either make my marketing more faster, cheaper, or better, which means better targeting, lower ROI cost, and faster means it has to be, what my operations, my marketing ops team works on, it has to really speed up, right? I don't want things which we were doing in a week's time. I want to do it in days. What we are doing in days, I want to literally do it in hours. And what we are doing in hours, I want to do real time. If it allows me to do that, then it's beneficial to me. If it is not, I don't care, right? It's not. So that's where my entire sum of Web 3.0 really stands at. I don't know whether that is contrary to what I know. People have been speaking a lot of stories. Unfortunately, as on a business side, what we we are exploring a lot of things. We have a large R&D team, and that's their job is to actually keep looking at new technologies. Uh, be it when blockchain came, they worked on blockchain, AI, automation, metaverse, blah blah blah. And once they find out something, that we bring it to mainstream operations of technology and experiences. Uh, so few cases have happened, right, in which we've really brought a lot of AI into the mainstream. We built a lot of cases on that. We really got better throughput on many things. No, this is not marketing. This is for my customers. Uh, but I think right now we are in a serious, fast-paced transformation space. Uh, Now, what is going to remain? What is fad? What is really there to stay? Only time would say. And I think that's where I'll stop right now.
So I think, Mitul, you brought an interesting perspective in terms of ROI, revenue, what is there for me, right? So I think Web 3.0 offers a lot of opportunities for marketers, right? Some of the benefits are like smart contracts, tokenization, secure data, etc., right? What revenue streams as marketers do you see arising from Web 3.0 that can benefit a business? Any take on that?
See, so there are two ways to it. As a marketeer, I am only going to look at what my challenges are and what my business challenges are. And does a technology really help me overcome that business challenges? Now, whether it can be privacy linked. So, for example, if I want to, reach out to customers with intent data, right? And that intent data gives, with better personalization, if that intent data can help me target the right set of people at the right price points, right? I am game for it. But if it tells me that I'm going to, I have great data, you can personalize it, but it's going to cost me a hell of the amount, right? And maybe 4x of what I'm currently spending at. Uh, I will really evaluate it thoroughly. I'll do a very strong POC around it. So as a marketer, that's what it is. Now, as a technology vendor for me, for my customer, I'll have to think it in the same way. Will my customer really create the impact what I am actually promising to my customer, right? Will it create value? If it doesn't create value, it will really not fly with my customer. It may create a little sizzle around the customer. It might be one more thing which I can go and take to their boardrooms. But at the end of the day, currently the way the markets are, and I'm talking about global markets, which are fairly under recessionary weather, people are being extremely cautious in terms of really going and splurging out. So as a vendor, I definitely have to be cognizant of that impact and create my business plan around it. Now,
Right.
at my end, I'm not sure. I'm sure every organization is at a different stage. At my end, I think we are still a lot on. We are doing a lot of R&D around these technologies right now.
I
So
think
yeah.
Vipul has a point of view. Vipul, you want to share what opportunities or ROI do you see for business or revenue streams do you see rather?
Yes, so there are direct and indirect. I'll right now focus on the indirect part of it, and what I'm basing by the two areas which we will focus on. It's not that we are entirely doing a wait and watch, but we are exploring it on two aspects. Because an important part of 3.0 is that there would be semantic web, that is, it understands human communication, of course, through AI as well. And at the same time, what it will happen is that information to the user, the information will come to you instead of the service provider going to the user. Now that's a reverse thing, which means all your content marketing, what Suma had also mentioned, and Dun& Bradstreet, of course, does a lot of research. We put out a lot of content out. And I also would need to see how do I structure my whole data, like we used to focus on SEO. SEO changed the way, especially Google algorithms, it changed the way websites were designed, really. In the same way, Web 3.4, 3.0 will also change the way we write our own content as far as research is concerned. So that's one aspect. Second aspect, which is probably more closer to ROI, is customer service. Bill Gates made a very big statement. I'm not sure how true it would be, but you would get the essence of it. He said that ultimately customer service will be the only value that organizations will create. And for me, customer service is also about personalization. Web 3.0 would help you with that semantic web AI, etc. Help you go earlier. We used to go from mass to personalization. Here, your starting point can be that segment of one. And that is the whole point about customer service, not just in terms of complaint handling or query handling, but also in terms of teaching or educating your own customer. There, I feel it would be there would be more direct ROI, which probably will also please performance-driven marketeers like Mitul and me.
Great. Any other viewpoint from anyone? Yes, VidhyaShankar.
Oh, yeah, sure. I think, see, as much as from an ROI standpoint, if you look at, right, I'm not sure about the B2B marketing per se, right, how much we have put our hands and hearts on how much we can deliver through the Web 3.5 investments and stuff like that. But I think from a B2C perspective, you're already seeing that. You're already seeing that. In fact, a couple of examples if I have to look at. So I think so one of the things that I talked about, DNG, right? Even earlier. So they participate in the Metaverse Fashion Week that is organized, that's been organized on Decentraland, right? And they were able to get almost, one, I would say it's almost 2 million worth of business done, right? And these are all real business that are done over the Web 3.0. Same the case, Nike. Nike created their own Nike land on Roblox. As much as Roblox is not a Web 3.0, based on technology, it's not on blockchain. But I think they create a lot of traction for their own thing. I think people can buy the token and then they can they get their shoe free and vice versa. The offline to online and online to offline. That is that is doing a really good stuff there, in the sense people are able to connect the offline to online part of it. I think you buy a shoe, you get a NFT of the same shoe through in the Nike land and stuff like that. I think people have, in fact, Hyundai launched their Creta, the first car ever to be launched in Cretaverse. They have created their own Cretaverse thing and they have launched it. And then they kind of, and that was a limited edition that they launched when they launched it, and then it sold in minutes. So I think it's just the adoption and application to the B2B is still to be seen. But I think the success in B2C is already, people are realizing it, right? But to everybody, to what Vipul talked about, and also to what Mitul talked about, it is still to be seen in the B2C, at least from a marketing standpoint. I think when we apply those technologies to our customers, I think it's a clear win. But from a marketing per se, how I market my products on Metaverse, that's the question that we are all talking about, right? It is still from a B2B perspective, it still has to be realized. People are putting their lot of bets right now. I think one of the things when I was the curious about the whole metaverse thing is because, so when you looked at the social media 10 years back, right, people who are the early adopters seen a lot of success over the last 10 years. And when the important thing with the early adopter is your investment will be low, and then your even your you can fail fast, and also the failure can be cheaper. right? Rather than if you look at 5 years down the line, you're still looking at how to invest in metaverse, your failure will be much, much higher. I think it's better to kind of, at least in bits and pieces, try to see what can we do, and then try to learn from that, and then see how that. I think ROI is a bigger question, at least from a B2B space at this point in time. But I think we have to take those baby steps to see what can, and businesses are different, right? What works for 3M Fintech may not work for us, and then and same the case with Datametics or for Dun & Bradstreet. So that's my take at this point in time. It's very you can't put a number right now on the ROI perspective, at least.
I think interesting point. And when I was reading about Web 3.0, I saw a lot of organizations are now creating dApps rather than apps, right? So dApps are more decentralized app that lives on a smart contract on a blockchain, right? And or they offer a lot of trust factor to the user that the software is known and it's immutable, right? So a lot of interesting things are happening on the Web 3.0 platform. And one of the interesting thing which I think almost all of you talked about was it offers an opportunity for personalization, right? Leveraging that customer data and those analytics, right? But if you have to leverage those data and analytics, your marketing strategies also needs to be evolved, right? What is your take on how do you see marketing strategies getting evolved if you want to leverage those analytics coming in from the customer behavior? And I think we also have Kunal who has that expertise from SaaS, from the analytics standpoint, right? So this would be a good, interesting few minutes to spend on this topic as well.
Sure. So, at SaaS, what we've done is over a period of time, we have built a multidisciplinary team, right? Which is essentially a marketing sciences team. Like these are experts who are trained in data science, and they kind of operate at the intersection of marketing and technology and data science. Right? These are the three crossroads at which they really need. But they're really very, very good at data science, and that's really the foundation of where we have invested in. And hopefully, as technology is mature, right, we will really start using their expertise in every areas. For now, from a SaaS standpoint, I can tell you that what we're really trying to do from a Web 3.0 standpoint is looking at areas where we can make some immediate experiments. We can invest in some immediate experiments, considering the fact that much of the technology that is in Web 3.0 is not really necessarily ready or applicable to us, right? So as Vidya mentioned, right, one of the things is that many of those examples that VidhyaShankar said belongs to the B2C space, obviously, because much of that is not really applicable in the B2B space at the moment, right? And the other piece is that those technologies as well are fairly nascent, right? It might give you a marketing gimmick, which is more to attract eyeballs. And that's true for B2C companies as opposed to B2B companies, right? So it might attract eyeballs and it might help in certain cases for B2C organizations, but may not be as relevant for B2B. So the real thing is, are they really ready? Is the technology really ready for us to implement in a B2B world? Is it going to have an immediate impact in areas? So I think we kind of have prioritized on three areas. Some of this I've shared earlier, right? One is immediately the web, right? So digital marketing, how we could really use more first-party data. So that's really building the foundation so that we are ready whenever something changes in the Web 3.0 world, right? So we are really building that foundation of first-party data. Second is we're really investing in our web experience, and that's a continued effort, right? To include user-generated content, seeing what new we could really roll out in terms of experiences. And the third piece is community. So I think these are three areas where we have really nailed it down and said, we want to invest, we want to do some experiments, and others are, as they come, we might evaluate and we might decide it's happening or it's not happening. Having said that, we have a very good marketing stack that has, over a period of time given us, multiple dividends. So we really have belief in that. So which means that, if we're getting uh, information across the entire customer journey, right? So right from the point of, campaigns getting rolled out, leads pipeline, how much of that has converted into pipeline, multi-touch attribution dashboards, then digital footprints, and so on. And finally, essentially, return on marketing investment. So we have that in place. Um, I do see that there is a slow and steady creep of AI entering in some of these areas. It's not rampant at this point in time, but yes, in certain areas there is an element of AI that is coming. But apart from that, really, we are really prioritizing, in terms of where we should really place our bets. And much of that it goes back to what I shared earlier. What is technology ready? Is it going to give us an impact that we need? And how soon? So that's really what it is.
Thanks, Kunal. Any other point of view here in terms of how marketing strategies needs to evolve to leverage the power of analytics? Yes, Priya, I think you want to say something. Yeah.
See, though we're an old company per se in terms of it being there, I think in 2021, when we were carved out as a separate company, there were a lot of challenges. So one was from a pure play product company, we moved into what we need to do now, kind of a thing. So we sort of managed to sort of stabilize in terms of what we're going to sell. But however, like one of the biggest problem that I had was to get everything on one platform, which is on the website first. Having that clarity on what I'm going to take to market, that was the biggest challenge that we had. And so we were grappling with a lot of things like, oh, we've launched cloud-based services now. Are we powered with Oracle? Then we've launched something called, Neuro Edge, which is a SaaS platform product, and things like that. So what gave us a lot of strength and ability to redraft the way we should be doing marketing was a lot of insights that we got. Whether we are, are the customers really looking for these kind of services? Are we in a right track in terms of rehashing what we are trying to take to market? That was the biggest learning that we had. With that being said, we've sort of looked away from things that we don't want to do because there's absolutely nothing that happened, but quick to throw and, very quick to also rehash the way we were planning to do our business. That became a forefront, thought process in everybody's mind. And a lot of my teams, they come and say, hey, can you help us market this? So that change from being a support function to be able to take them forward was the first journey that I had to overcome here. Because it was very traditionally old and they would only think about how I would do marketing outside. So digital is playing an important role for the journey that we want to take forward in this case. And today, as we stand, data-driven approach is our way to go. So there is no two ways about it. So we've invested in tools and technologies to be a part of that. So we've onboarded certain CRM tools. We're able to. So today, as the Kunal mentioned and some few of the others about customer being centric, right? So it's a flywheel option and not just a funnel. So that is something we are trying to build in the company as don't look at it other ways, but take that customer as your centerpiece and see how you can accelerate that. Whether it's customized emails, service delivery, make the customer happy, repeat business, all this comes around it as such. That's how we are looking from a change management, within this.
Thanks, Priya. Any other point of view from anyone?
Yeah, so I think, tech, tool, data analytics, they've always been important, right? I think one of the biggest impacts that I see happening would be permission-led marketing, with this cookie-less thing happening and with Web 3.0, promising the fact that customer privacy will be put in the forefront, with decentralization and stuff like that. I think as marketers, we will have to look at how best we reach customers without compromising on privacy. And I'm a consumer myself and a marketer as well. And I cringe sometimes when I see, the way marketing is happening, especially in our country. I was meeting somebody who come from abroad, a friend of mine, and we were just comparing notes on collars. So I was talking to her, and I got this I don't want to name the brand, but thrice I got a call, and I have never subscribed to that service. The person was trying to sell me an insurance. And I mean, this is almost like killing your own brand, right? It's not selling or marketing for, it was just annoying. So I think as marketers, I think we will have to see how we can reach out to customers without, you know, breaking that trust and keeping that privacy at bay. So I think that would be one of the biggest challenges. Also with the cookieless world coming up, taking care of our first party databases and nurturing our own customer bases will become that much more important. So yeah, that's my 2 bits on it.
So, on just a candid note, the moment you said insurance, I think all of us understood which brand are you talking about.
Yes, that's the one.
Right. So I think that brings to one of the interesting and I think one thought-provoking question for each of us, like as a marketer, right? What skills or like, what skills or competencies or how do marketers prepare themselves and their businesses and their teams to encash the possibilities in Web 3.0?
I can answer that. So I think one thing is, never stop learning. That is, I mean, which I'm actually doing with my teams right now. I'm just kind of because there's so much out there, and you don't know what to kind of adapt and all that. Is your company in a is your organization in a maturity scale to kind of adopt some of the new technologies? So it shouldn't be all theory. At the end of the day, you should be kind of adapting, picking up from whatever you're learning and implementing it in your own organization. So something more practical based training is something that I am in fact looking this year. In fact, in my budgeting, I have kind of put in a separate kind of a budget for my team to kind of get through this, to learn more about these technologies. As Mitul mentioned, get to know a lot more about the tools, the stack, tech stack, and all of that, which probably basically keep aside some time to keep discovering, to keep learning. You may or may not kind of adapt all of them or most of them, whatever, but we figure it out. But that is something that the marketing teams have to do. As somebody said, you might not lose your job to chat gpt, but you might lose your job if you don't know about chat gpt. So I think that you have to be a little updated with what the technology is. That's my 2 cents.
Yes, VidhyaShankar.
Yeah, so a couple of things, right? I think what we have done internally is, we have kind of 2 or 3 teams are coming together, right? People who are experts, at least internally, experts in data science. One of my own team who has their expertise in marketing and technology, right? I think we are coming together to understand this space more, and we all talked about data, how important is data, and how personalized the experience needs to be, and so on and so forth. So the first step is obviously understanding, bisecting the data, dissecting the data that you already have, finding out the gaps and see what are the things that we need to fill, right? Because that's going to form the basis for everything that you're going to do as a marketer, right? So that we already in the journey of understanding it, internalizing it, and creating that multidisciplinary team that I talked about, right? So that's one. Number two is also, I think it's important what Suma talked about is how you stay top on of some of the latest trends in the Web3 technology, and importantly, how it's going to affect marketeers. What kind of things that marketeers do in the space? How can we learn from it? It's about learning and implementing, right? And learning and then implementing, see how it is working for you, and then take learnings and provide it to others. And because we ourselves, in fact, I'm part of a community of marketing leaders. Lot of things that we chat, a lot of things that we kind of discuss around not only chat. We talked about Web3, we talked about GPT-4, and then other technologies that are well. How can we use those technologies to augment our marketing efforts? So that's number two. And the third thing is about we ourselves are going through a course on blockchain. right? Because that's the underlying underlying technology for Web3, right? So we are trying to understand what blockchain means and what blockchain means to a marketer like us. I think those are 2 or 3 steps at least we are taking. Where we are already, I would say, in this journey. But hopefully, let's see where it takes us at least in the next couple of months or so.
I think very interesting and engaging takeaways, and I'm sure a lot of us, for each one of us to learn as well. Any other take, any other inputs from anyone? Yes, Vipul.
Yeah, just adding because Suma mentioned that phrase, and I'm paraphrasing her. She said that you may not lose your job to ChatGPT, but you may lose your job if you don't know ChatGPT. I'm paraphrasing it that if you may not know ChatGPT,
How
but
to
you
use
may
them.
lose your job to someone who knows ChatGPT, because there would be people who would know ChatGPT or other AI tools and what these tools are actually benefiting. And we have seen this over the course of 2 decades. We all have worked for that longer period where there was no digital marketing, and then there is digital marketing, and how various tools, martech stacks, availability of richer data, like for example, what Dun& Bradstreet provides, all that has made a lot of roles, I would not say profiles, roles redundant, but they have combined it into one person. And AI will give that kind of power. Web 3.0 will give that kind of power to one person. So you better be that one person than anybody else.
Great, Vipul. I think an interesting way to sum up the conversation. Yes, Kunal.
Just wanted to add to the perspective here. I think much will change, but much of that will change will possibly be the how, because um, we content marketers will still need to build great content. Right? It's just that maybe the content that was earlier being really driven towards selling might change to education, right? Education and empowerment. Um, Brand marketers will still need to create the trust around the brand. There is no go, right? We will need a community building as well. So that engagement of community again needs to happen. So much of the basics of traditional marketing, in my opinion, continue to be applied even in Web 3.0 and will continue to remain relevant. What might change is that maybe each of our teams over a period of time will build a significantly more evolved, will be much more evolved in the areas of analytics, in the areas of technology, because there's really a data-driven approach that is getting infused. So whether we like it or not, that's happening, right? So uh, while all of that is happening, the basics still, in my opinion, continue to remain the same. So that's one single, one idea that I wanted to share with you.
Right. I completely agree, right? Those principles of marketing, those gyan which we have from marketers like Kotler, etc., will still continue to exist. Completely agree with Kunal, what you said. Any other? VidhyaShankar, yes. Oh,
I don't know. This was initial, but yeah, I think just agree with that.
right. So I know we have crossed the time, but we'll just take a minute, right? If you have to reimagine, or rather imagine, a campaign in metaverse, right, for one of your favorite B2B or B2C brand, uh, and this is just a fun closing to our discussion today, right? If you have to reimagine a campaign for your favorite B2B or B2C brand in metaverse, how would that look like? Anyone would like to take it up, or anyone would like to attempt?
Yeah, I
Yes,
can.
Vivek.
My favorite B2B brand is Dun& Bradstreet. But why I always
Okay.
say is, but why I also say that, so our campaign globally, what we run is a power of data campaign. And for me, the perfect metaverse campaign would be something on the lines of Matrix, when Neo realizes the Matrix and he sees all those numbers and symbols coming up. And probably that in metaverse would be an awesome thing to be.
Great. Yes, Vidya.
No, I think, see, when we talked about the international brands, right? I think your own Tata Tea, they did a whole holy celebration on Metaverse. I think that,
I
to me,
yeah.
it was really right. And we talk about Nike, we talk about everything under the sun. But I think that was one of the things that was the first ever holy, celebration event that happened on Metaverse. So just to, so whether it's B2B or B2C, at the end of the day, I think the most important thing, if you have to bring, Quinnox or any IT services into picture, I think it has to be some kind of, I'm a football fanatic. So I would do something really do with, in fact, PSG did with Messi. They came up with this NFT token, the first ever football team to come up with something like that. So I would organize a game, where I will bring in all my customers to play and then, create that kind of a customer experience for them. I think that's we might take.
Yes, we look forward to making it like real in next few very shortly.
Yeah, that was one of the thoughts when we were discussing internally. How can we do it? I think we have like-minded people internally, at least in the marketing team. So
Great. Any other thoughts from anyone before we wrap up?
I would just say with great power comes great responsibility. So, so as marketers, we'll have to be very, very responsible with what we do with the tech and data. Yeah.
I think that's a very interesting and important topic, but I think a separate conversation because that is again very important pillar, right? Ethical marketing and responsible marketing is something which will bind everything together, right? So with that, thank you, everyone. It was indeed a very interesting discussion. I think a lot of interesting takeaways for, I'm sure, for each one of us to brainstorm, to keep thinking about. And we look forward to such continuous discussion. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank
you so
you.
much.
Yeah.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
jump into the world of metaverse,
Bye-bye.
guys. Let's
Yes.
see there. Bye.
Bye.
See you then.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Kritik, recording stop कर दो ना. Hello.